with Tracy in LA. Hi everyone, welcome back to my podcast, Dance Journey. Today we have my friend Bridget on the pod.
Hello.
I'm so excited because Bridget and I just love to chat all the time anyways, so like why not record it so you guys can hear our amazing conversations.
Yeah.
But I'll talk a little bit about how me and Bridget met each other, but tonight we are taking Christian Espinel. I do not know how to say anybody's last name.
I've never even thought about it, but that sounds right.
Yeah, because his Instagram is Prince Espy, so I feel like I always just say that in my head, and that's what I think about. But his name is Christian. He teaches contemporary at C Spot. Bridget and I like his class. We go pretty much every week. You're even more consistent than me, I think.
Yeah, I go every week.
Yeah.
I have been, yeah.
So why do we go to Christian's class every week? What do we like about it?
I really like it. I like the feels. It's hard. It's
hard.
tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's intricate. But yeah, I like Christian. He's always fun and nice and funny. And tonight's Matchbox 20.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
I love when he just like pulls out the old ones. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I usually love the songs he chooses. I think his choreo is really fun, but it is tricky. It's like contemporary, but then it has a little bit of lyrical because he puts like turns and stuff that are sometimes tricky. And then he sometimes does these like quick head and like hand movements that are definitely, oh my gosh, my brain.
Yeah.
It's always dying, and he never does 2 rounds. It's just 1 round.
Yeah.
You better get it or you're done. I'm just kidding. No, he's like super chill. It's like, even though it's hard, it's like a chill vibe. It's always like mood lighting, and he's really calm, and he makes jokes, and he's like funny. So yeah, I really enjoy it. So that's the class we're taking tonight. If you haven't tried it, you should. And Bridget, how do we know each other, Bridget? Do you remember when we first met?
Well, I know because we've been taking Zach and Christian's regularly, but before, I guess it would have been John Paul.
I feel like, so Bridget she takes a lot of classes from C Spot. We both take a lot of classes. But I feel like there was one time
I didn't used to, though.
Okay.
Like when we first met.
But
we talked after that hip-hop class.
Yeah, we both tried like a new hip-hop class at C Spot. We both came that day for that teacher's like first day or something. And then I remember us chatting for like a while because it was kind of like
that class. What was
middle of the day, or maybe it was a Saturday or something.
No, it was like a Monday at 6. I remember I just landed, or like I don't know. I just landed and like went to class, or like a Thursday maybe.
Like landed from a plane?
Yeah. From like teaching voiceover stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think we ended up talking about that. So I remember, chatting with you for a while that day.
Yeah.
And then I think since then, I just felt like I knew you better. And so we just started chatting more.
But I remember that day because he came in and was like, everybody do a move for the warm up and I'll repeat it. And then he's like, you first. And I was like, I just no. I was like, no, thank you. But then I remember, like, your move. I was like, Tracy really is an adorable human. I remember thinking that.
I don't even remember what my move was, but now that you bring that up.
I do.
What was it?
It's hard to do, but it's like, I don't know if my leg was kicking up, but it was like.
Oh, you know what? I think I know what move it was. It's a move that I kind of do that's kind of just like a jumpy type of move, which tends to be my choreography.
Yeah.
But now that you bring it up, okay, every once in a while a teacher will do that where they're like, it's in the warm-up and they'll be like, I want you guys to create the warm-up or like part of it. And so they'll go around and have different people choose. I've had teachers do that in other hip-hop classes. They're like, you pick a move and then the rest of the class will do it. And most of the time I'm just like, trying to do everything but make eye contact with the teacher because I'm like, no, I don't want
I love saying no. I like if I
you
don't
just
want
say no.
Yeah, no.
That's good. Yeah.
Like everybody's gonna do a solo. I don't know. Especially previously when I was taking harder, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely can say no. I just feel like, oh, this is a challenge I should take. But like, what move am I going to do? And then I feel so stressed out. And then when you don't know that that's coming, if you're like used to the teacher and you're like, they do this every time. So then before class, you can kind of like come up with something. But when you don't know, and especially if you just got in from somewhere else and you're like tired. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
So now we just see each other every week and multiple times a week, and Yeah. So Bridget, especially that day that we talked for a while, I know you probably told me some of these things, but to be honest, I don't remember all of them. So, and they don't know them. So I want to ask you well, first I want to ask you how much dance, I know you take a lot. So tell me, how many classes do you take a week? Like, how often do you take class?
Well, this like just started this year because the
Okay.
C Spot has the like unlimited pass that they started this
Yeah.
year, and so you
Yeah.
can go as many times as you want for the same price. And I was like, don't threaten me with a good time. And so I started taking a lot, and then once you get in the momentum, but I
Yeah.
would say like 6 or 7 a week.
Okay.
But
And you
that started this year. I
okay.
didn't
It
always take
wasn't
that
like
many.
that.
Yeah,
Okay. And you go pretty much every day?
pretty much every day.
Okay. But you don't do just the C Spot. What are the other studios you go to?
Mainly just the C Spot, really.
Really?
I
Right
take a
now?
few. There's a few other teachers I like. At some other like LA Dance Fit. Um, this Brandon Anthony guy. He does like music video pop.
Oh, nice.
And Topher who does jazz funk. But other than that, I pretty much take everything at the
Okay.
C Spot.
Is it
I
mostly
don't like to
because of
drive far.
Oh, I know, because you live close by, which is nice.
Yeah.
And C Spot's in Culver City, which is very convenient for the people on the west side, because a lot of the studios are in like North Hollywood and stuff. So it is nice
Yeah.
if you're over here. Well, my job used to be over here, so that was nice. I used to be over here a long time ago, but now I just drive far because I actually think C Spot is awesome. And if I lived close by, I probably would go to more. So yeah, so tell the people what's like the style that you like the most? What's the style you take the most and like the most?
I like when I first started dancing, I was never into hip hop, but then once, like after pandemic, when I started dancing at a harder studio, then hip hop was just the easiest thing. Hip hop is like I'm better at it. I've done it for longer, and I have more freedom in the movement, and I don't have to concentrate on it the whole time.
Yeah.
But when I like first started dance, I really wanted to do like contemporary was my big
Really?
thing that I really wanted, and I went to a beginner studio where everything was just beginner, and that was the main thing I took, and I wasn't really that into hip hop.
What studio was that?
DS Studio of Dance,
Where was that?
Culver City.
Oh, okay.
So I
But
started
that doesn't
in
exist anymore.
it does,
Or
they
does
just
it?
don't do adults anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, transitioning into how did you even get into dance? How long ago did you get into dance, and like what got you to start even taking dance classes?
I went like a year before. I went in 2019. I think I might have taken a couple classes in 2018. I really wanted to get out of my comfort zone just in life. I felt like really stagnant. So I was taking just at one like random classes. I took a dance class, I took a gymnastics class, I had Pilates. Just
Where did
trying
you
to
take
find
gymnastics?
stuff.
Was it the place in Culver City? LA School of Gymnastics?
No.
Okay.
It was in 2019. I went to
Okay,
like
okay,
one
okay.
class, but I was trying different things.
Yeah.
And then I really liked the dance studio. It was really bad, but everything was beginner. Like it was so, I would have friends come and things like that because it was just simple. And a lot of people did have dance experience and weren't an absolute beginner like I was, but it was easy choreography and you could do all the different like jazz, hip hop, contemporary, all at a beginner level.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I went there for a year, and then I think I quit right before the pandemic hit. I was supposed to travel and teach voiceover classes all through 2020, and then the pandemic hit. But I took there for about a year, and then didn't pick up, except for tap, I didn't do anything at all during the pandemic, and then started dancing again in 2022.
Okay. And what studio did you come back to? Was it that same studio?
The C Spot.
Oh, it was. Oh, because C Spot
Or no, I went to
opened in 2022? Or Dance Line?
I went to Dance Line for a minute because I was taking private lessons for tap during the pandemic, and then also at Dance Line. And then I was taking a hip hop class for a minute at Dance Line, and then the teacher got another gig or something. And then, yeah, I found the C Spot and started coming here.
Oh, Oh, okay. So it just started with you just like wanting to get out of your comfort zone, but then you ended up just like really
I
liking
did.
it.
I really liked it. Yeah.
That's so cool. Um, and you try different classes here and there. You try, I feel like I see different classes that you try.
Now I do. When I first started, like 2022 through like mid 2023, I really only took Groove 3 with Brandy. That was like my main class, and then I would take classes here and there because I was traveling so much. And then like this year, yeah, I've tried so many classes.
So, okay, I want to ask you about that because a lot of people don't like to try new classes. It's scary, especially even sometimes, maybe even more so when a dancer is really good because they're used to being really good. So trying a new class, they might not be like super good. There's just like scary things. Or if you're new to dance, trying a new class can be really scary, obviously. So I want to ask you like, how is it for you when you try a new class? Does it feel like easy breezy to just like, okay, we'll see how this one is? Or do you have fears when you try a new class? Or like, what's it like for you when you try a new class?
It depends on the class. But from going from 1 year at a beginner studio to not having much of anything, when I first came to C Spot, everything was so hard, even hip hop.
Yeah.
I almost didn't even go for a while. And then there were some things, like Esther for Zach's class, and it like peer pressured me forever to go to that class.
Esther.
And I finally did. So it just depends. Now I'll just take whatever because it's like, what's the worst that could happen? I'm just the worst one in class and don't get any choreo because what's new?
Well, honestly,
I feel like it's like I take these harder classes, but if it's like hip hop based and all level at this point, it's easier. And it's been good to add easier classes that make me feel better about myself and that I'm a good dancer. So I feel like most of the ones that I've been adding are easier than the ones I take on a regular basis, like Christian's and Zach's.
Yeah. So like your very regular ones are like the hard ones. So then you add these like newer ones that maybe are a little more in your comfort zone. So it's like, it's a new class, but you feel more comfortable anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all at the C Spot, and I'm here a lot, so.
Yeah. C Spot is, if you haven't been to the C Spot, it's such a like comfortable studio. I mean, there's some hard classes there. There's also some like more fitness dance-based classes, and it's just such a warm vibe, just like friendly, and the owner, Susan's amazing, and just like, yeah, Bridget practically lives here, so it's probably just like very comfortable. I feel very comfortable, and I only come like twice a week, but yeah, so I was going to relate to that for myself with trying new classes. Like, I think I kind of have the same view of just like, who cares if I don't get, like, if I don't get it, I don't get the choreography, that's not the worst thing in the world, especially for like a new class. But if I take too many new classes in a row, I have to be like, okay, Tracy, do a class you're good at, because I will start to be like, why am I even dancing? I just sucked in the last 3 classes.
That's how I felt like when I was just doing like contemporary classes consistently for a while, and then I just felt so discouraged, and I was like, I need to add like a hip hop class, like an all levels hip hop class that I'm just good at. So I did that.
Yeah. And when you said when you first started dancing, you were most drawn to contemporary. Do you still feel like you have a really strong desire to get better at contemporary, or is it kind of like, it's fine, but you really like hip hop?
I like hip hop because I am better at it.
Okay, but you still really like contemporary.
I do. It's just it's so hard, and
It's hard.
That's like the big, like I didn't want to go from beginner to like an intermediate advanced class, but I looked and I couldn't find anything that was like beginner or something. And I mean, when I first started going, it was like, I didn't even know how to do like a pirouette, or like, I didn't even know like if this leg is up front, like which way you're turned, like anything. And I remember like the first class, because I kind of started taking it consistently, like I think like June or July of last year. But when Zach first came to the C Spot, Esther was like, if Zach comes to the C Spot, will you take the class with me? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm never going to do that again.
And Zach teaches, he switches between contemporary and jazz, but his class is pretty hard. So you said you were never going to do it again, but yet you come every week, so.
Well, I was still, I was still pretty new or at the time. But yeah.
Did you stop going for a while after that, or did you keep going?
No, I stopped.
Okay.
It was like, the pandemic kind of years, I don't know, chronological. I think it was like the end of 2022 that I maybe took it. And it was so hard. And then like the across the floor stuff was humbling, and improv, and I mean, I just didn't know how to do anything. And so I was like, definitely not. But also, Brandy's class, group 3, that I really liked and took consistently was at the same time as Zach's class.
So you went back to that.
Yeah.
But then what made you come back to Zach's later?
Well, then Brandy left because she was traveling for work. And that was like the class, like there was a time where it's like every teacher I would move on to other things. And then I remember
so hard when you like them.
Esther was like, well, now you can come to Zach's class. And I was like, yeah, okay. Because that was just so absurd. Like, because I just didn't have any basis of technique. I just had no idea what I was
Zach's
doing.
Is pretty advanced. Like, if you need a class where you're working on basic pirouettes, he's doing like crazy stuff with turns that's like, you know, I used to ask him if he could just do like a regular attitude turn, because an attitude turn is advanced already, but then he always does an attitude turn into some other crazy thing. And I'm like, can we just work on just an attitude turn? You know, like I'm still working on that. So if you like haven't really learned a pirouette really well yet, and you're trying to take Zach's class, it's definitely complicated.
Yeah.
But you did come back.
I did come back. So then Brandy left, and then I had Tuesdays open. And I was still traveling, but not as much. So I had time, and I was like, well, maybe if I take Zach's and Christian's consistently and just try it, like go every single time for like 3 months or so, and just see if I get any better. But I really didn't think I was going to.
But what happened?
So then, yeah, I took it for like 3 months. There was definitely one time where I was like, I am done with this. It's just hard to like show up every single time and not get it any time, and then like be the worst one in class, and then like get run over, kind of. Not that people are like running me over, but I don't have the choreography, and I'm always chasing it. Yeah,
a lot. Like these teachers do choreography where it's like very much traveling across the room. So if you're not keeping up, and I've been there before too, it's hard. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, someone's gonna hit me or whatever.
Yeah. And there was one class I didn't get like a whole portion of it. Like I just stopped. Like I just didn't have it. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. And then, but I know that if I like quit, even if it's for like a little bit, like I don't go back. So I'm like, do you really want to quit? And then I just kept kind of going back while I was deciding if I was going to quit or not. And then I just kept going.
You're like, that's so funny when you're accidental. Like Bridget's default is like to commit.
Yeah.
She like accidentally got committed to that class just by like not making a decision.
Yeah.
Usually when people don't make decisions, they end up not committed. But you're just like, oh, I guess I'm
like
still
consistency
going.
makes sense. So it's like if I don't want to take a break unless I'm for sure. Yeah.
And you have gone, in my mind, and I think in your minds, you have gotten a lot better. Like you pick up the choreography like much better. I mean, I know there's like, because I know we both have grown, because I struggled a lot in the beginning too. And, you know, sometimes he does moves I don't know either, and I get annoyed at myself about it for not getting it super well. But then I have to remember, like, Tracy, when you first started taking Zach's, like, I couldn't get all the choreography either. But now I'm like, at least I know like what he's doing now, or at least by round 2, I kind of know what he's doing. And you've gotten so much better, and you've shown it on your Instagram, because you've played like, oh, we did this choreography a year ago.
I know. It's like I don't think I'm getting better, and then I'll look at old videos and I'm like, wow, I really have gotten better. But I don't know why. I mean, I give myself a really hard time about dance and how well I'm doing, which is ridiculous, because I don't even like people have danced for so much longer than me. They have so like there's no reason that I should be better than I am. Like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's still discouraging to like show up and like keep not having to do it. And I crave like that. Hip hop's become easier for me, and it's just like that freedom and movement where it's just like your arms just go where they're supposed to go and your feet just go where they're supposed to go, and you can just listen to the music and dance because you have the choreography. and it's that freedom of it.
Yeah.
And I just desire to have that in other styles.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, it's frustrating to have to think the whole time, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And there's no freedom in it.
Yeah. I completely relate because so much of the time I'm focusing so much on picking up the choreography. It's like, it's very hard. I mean, they teach you like try to perform it even though you're still thinking about it. But that's a very hard skill that I think takes a while to develop. And as you're developing that skill, you're also developing an ability to pick up choreography better. So the same way you pick up choreography in hip hop a little easier, you're able to just like put your personality and get into it. Like every once in a while, I feel like I can forget about the choreography a little bit in contemporary and like really get into it. But most of the time I'm just like, what's the next move? What's the next move?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like you and I both post a lot of our dance videos on Instagram, and like people that are watching, I mean, other dancers watching know that we just learned it in 30 minutes. And, you know, but if someone's watching who's not a dancer or doesn't take dance class a lot, I want to like remind all those people, if any of those people are listening, it's not like something we've rehearsed for like weeks and weeks. Like we learned it in 30 minutes or 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we post it because like people like Bridget and Bridget's been posting much longer than me, but like we like to show the journey, and Bridget actually inspired me. I started posting more because she would post stuff that wasn't perfect, and I'm never perfect, and I was like, I should post stuff too. Like, why does it matter? I loved how Bridget always posted and would just thank the teacher and be like, that was a great class. She's still better at that than me. If I post something where I don't think I'm perfect, I'll be like, oh man, this was a rough one for me. I have to say all this stuff about it, which like, I don't know, that's kind of my style. But like Bridget will just be like, thank you so much for class. This was awesome. Or she just always, and I'm like, I remember just thinking that's so like sweet that she just like loves taking class and always thanks the teacher and posts it because it's just good to get to be in class. And
yeah.
But then it's also, we can see the growth, which I thought was really cool. And that's what I want to do with my videos too. It's like, I know a lot of my videos don't look perfect and I mess things up, but then when you finally post something where you do a little better, then people are like, oh, wow. They're like excited for you.
Yeah.
I'm excited for myself. And I always tell Bridget, like, my posts are because sometimes Bridget and I are like, are we posting too much? Or Bridget's like, should I post all these dance videos? But like, for me, my Instagram is kind of just like my own journal of dances. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be able to see the growth. Like, if nobody else cares and they're just like, oh, Tracy posts too much, like, they don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
I just want to have a place. Honestly, before I got on Instagram a year ago or whatever it was, I had so many videos from dance class. I had nowhere to kind of put them. They're so disorganized on my phone. So it's kind of nice to just like have a place where I can like see the sequence of myself taking classes. And like, so to me, it's kind of like a journal of dance for myself. And if anybody's interested, they can look at it. And if they aren't, they don't have to.
I know. I'll post my videos, and I mean, that's what I'm doing. And if
Yeah.
people want to watch it, that's on y'all.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll go on like a rabbit hole of trying to watch my progression in videos, and I can go to either extreme. I can go to the extreme of just like, oh my gosh, I'm so bad. I was bad in like 20 videos. Like, what am I doing with my life? And then other times I'm like, okay, I can it's like depends on my mood if I'm noticing the good stuff I do versus like the bad stuff.
I try to notice the good stuff first.
Yeah,
that's my
a
goal
good
of
habit.
really the year, is just to like be nicer to myself about things.
Yeah,
because I will
that's good.
look at a video and like immediately rip myself apart about it.
Oh yeah. And just so you know, I'm pretty sure that every dancer struggles with that, whether they've been dancing because if they've been dancing their whole lives, they still have similar struggles to us. It's just like a different level of it. It's like, you know, oh, they got 9 pirouettes instead of 10, you know, but still they're frustrated because they have danced since they were 5 and they should be able to do whatever, you know.
Yeah.
For us, it's like we just started not that long ago. Like, I think I started maybe a little bit before you, but like, and I was taking like a lot of classes for a while, but yeah, I'm glad you have that goal. And like, I love hearing more about it because I actually couldn't remember like when you started, but you didn't even start that long ago. And I would say you're doing pretty freaking good. And like, I love watching Bridget's hip hop videos because she does, I don't know, you have this little style that's just like this little attitude that's kind of like, but it's like cute. It's not like hardcore, but it's like, I don't know, you get into it in like your own way and it's really fun to watch. And recently I asked Bridget to send me like performance videos that she has. I just wanted to
Oh, yeah.
because she did a couple of performances with, I guess, one of your old dance studios.
Yeah, so when I was at that studio in 2019, DS Studio Dance, they had, I think I started in like December 2018, and then they had a recital for like the kids, but then the adults could do it.
Okay.
And I really wanted to get out of my comfort zone, not in dance, but just in life. I feel like whenever something's stagnant, I like to push myself in however way to like get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then the teachers really pushed me to like do it. So I did 2 dances. It was contemporary and like Broadway jazz kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. A lot of good people did it. And they were good at like you'd have different formations. So the people that were better were maybe like leaping across and doing something great. And then like we would do our thing. But I was so nervous to do it. But it was so fun to just like get to work on a routine many times and then perform it. And I remember I was traveling for work, so I missed the amount of rehearsals that you could miss, but I practiced a lot and I was so nervous. I was nervous not that I was going to mess up necessarily, but that I would mess it up for everybody, like be in the wrong formation, because I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay.
I had only danced for like 6 months.
It's good to hear it from Bridget's perspective, but I'll tell you from my perspective as an audience member of the videos that she sent me. They were so freaking good. They were so good. They danced to Bohemian Rhapsody and Grease Lightning. And Bridget was so good. It wasn't just like, oh, the group was good and Bridget was in there somewhere. Like, literally, the formations were really cool. They actually, whoever choreographed that stuff, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, they did have maybe some of the more technical, more experienced dancers do certain parts. But actually, Bridget had some special parts, too. And when I was looking, I'm like, dang, Bridget has the facial expressions. She has the performance quality. Like, there was a whole new quality that, like, I've not gotten to see much in Bridget because, like I was saying before, on Instagram, we're literally posting a dance we just learned. We have not practiced it a zillion times. We practiced it a few times. That's crazy. Like, if anyone's never taken a dance class, I would challenge you to, like, just take it. If you just appreciate dance and don't even want to dance, but you just to take one class, just to, like, know how it is, because yeah, it's to see, like, what you can do with dance when you've actually had time to rehearse.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, Bridget is good. And we were texting about it, and I don't know, she was just so fun to watch. And I know you're a performer, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But when I was talking with you, you were kind of like, yeah, I don't have, like, desire to perform. So, like, even though you had, like, fun in that experience to a degree, what is it that makes you, like, not have a desire to perform? Like, if there was, like, are you doing the showcase with C-Spot?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, like, what makes C-Spot's also doing, like, sort of an adult showcase thing coming up. So I'm not doing it either, I don't think. But I think we're at the deadline for it anyways.
Yeah.
But what is it that makes you, like, not want to do it again?
I wouldn't say I really wanted to do it in the first place, but I wanted to get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous, and I just thought I would forget everything, and I didn't. But, I mean, all the way up until I was just so nervous about it. And then after we did it and I didn't mess it up for everybody, I was like, that was really fun.
Well, I think that's what we were texting about before, as I was saying, like, because I don't have I do like to perform, but I haven't really done, like, a stage dance performance since I was, like, in high school or something, which, I mean, I didn't really do dance. I did a little bit of dance in high school, but, and I don't have this, like, super overwhelming urge to do it, but I think it's also because I feel like I would get stressed, or I feel like I'd get bored. Even though I'd like to be able to practice a dance more, at the same time, I'm like, am I going to get bored if we're doing the same dance for, like, 2 months or something? And then, but I was telling Bridget, like, actually after I saw her videos, I was kind of feeling a little bit inspired and, like, maybe I should perform sometime. Like, I don't know where, but I'm like, because, what you can do with it after you've actually rehearsed more. And I was saying, like, even if you have the stress, but, like, maybe the more times you get to perform, the stress gets, like, a little bit less. I'm sure every dancer has a little bit of, like, nerves and stress every time, but, like, once you've done it a million times, I'm sure you're like, you get over it like a little bit at least.
Yeah.
And then it probably becomes more fun. But that was like your first time. So of course you were stressed and you didn't know how it would go. But then it went pretty well. And then you're like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah. I remember right before this girl, so we had like practiced it forever, and there was like this line, and I was in the front. There were like 4 people behind me or something, and we would like went out and did this leap, and she was like, make sure to like leap, like take up more space when you're doing the leap, because we're behind you and we're trying to take up more space. And
that's stressful.
but it was like right before, it was like the rehearsal of, and I was like, what? I was so
like, don't tell me
stressed about
something
it.
new to do right now.
And so they were like showing me, and we were like working on it, because the other people in line were kind of like, yeah. And then I'm just like, why would they put me in the front of the line anyway? I don't know what I'm doing. That is
super stressful.
So then they were like showing me, and I was practicing. I still don't think I took up the space that I was supposed to take, but it's like I should have said something a month ago.
Yeah.
So maybe even more stressed, but it all worked out. It was fun. My friends came.
Oh my gosh, yeah. In the videos, her friends were taking the videos, and they're all like cheering so loud for Bridget. It was just so fun to watch it.
It was a good time.
Like, yeah, that would be stressful. If somebody said something like that to me in the beginning, I'd be like, that's so stressful, because you're already like thinking about a million other things. Like, don't give me a new thing to think about right now. But you handled it well. I didn't notice any weird thing with the leap, and I definitely watched all of it and like totally stared at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool. So I don't know. So you don't have a strong desire to perform. You obviously you push yourself to do things out of your comfort zone, but obviously with dance class you liked it, so you kept going. With performing, you kind of liked it, but you don't feel like a super strong desire to like do that again necessarily. But like, do you have any like specific goals with dance, or is it just like, oh, I just really enjoy like growing at it? Or do you ever think you might want to do something specific with it, even if it's like do your own type of thing with it? Or
I don't think so. I mean, if some kind of opportunity presented itself, I guess maybe I would think about it. But I do really like pushing myself and getting better at things. And I remember when I started taking like Zach's class and stuff, and it was just such a challenge, but I love like getting out of my comfort zone and pushing myself. And even though I was telling my friend like, no, definitely not, there's like this quote I really like that's like, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. And that's what I was thinking about.
Wait, what does that mean?
Like, if you have like a limitation, like, oh, I can't do that. Like, yeah, right, I'm not going to take that class. Or like, I'll never get better at that. It's like, that's your limitation. And it's like you're fighting for it. So you get to keep that. Like, okay, well, then you won't get better at it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
So, and just feelings of progress have been good. And just, I do get discouraged a lot from the harder stuff. But I do like just for my physical health, my mental health, it does bring me a lot of joy. And just moving with people. Like, I remember I didn't do anything in like 2020 and the first part of 2021. And then once dance came back, it was like, man, I really did miss this a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know if I have any specific goals, but I definitely have a strong desire to get better.
Yeah. Well, I really think when you're just doing something that you love, that you never know like what opportunities could come. I always go back to like when I chose my major for college, I didn't necessarily pick something that I loved. I picked something where I thought I knew what job it was going to get me later. But after and it's fine, but like later on after I graduated, I thought I kind of wish I would have just picked a subject I loved and then just been open to like whatever possibilities could come from that. And so now I feel like that's what I do more in my life. Like that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're like, I just know I love dance, love going dance class. So you're just going to keep growing and getting better at it, keep pushing yourself. And then, like you said, maybe an opportunity will present itself. If it doesn't, it's also okay because you just like love doing this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
Follow the joy.
Yeah. That's kind of like how I feel too. So you take a lot of dance. So talk about because I think you're a great performer. So I just want to mention, like, what do you do you kind of already mentioned it, but what do you do for your job?
I do voiceover. It's really fun. I was kind of like you. I went to school for business. I got my master's, my MBA. And then I just hated working in an office. And I started voiceover on the side and then ended up doing it full time and then ended up teaching for a little bit. But yeah, and I've performed, like I did stand-up comedy for a while. I did improv. I wrote a sketch show.
Whoa.
For Second City.
Whoa. Wait, did you grow up in, we never talked about this. Did you grow up in LA?
No, I grew up in Dallas.
Oh, when did you move here?
I moved here after grad school in 2008.
For a job?
No.
Just because?
Yeah, I just packed in my car and drove here.
Why? What made you?
I had never even been here. I think just the desire for change.
Okay.
But
you hadn't done any
I didn't know if
voiceover stuff yet?
No, and I hadn't even really thought about it or heard about it or anything. But once I started hearing about it, I was like, man, that sounds like something I want to do.
Yeah, how did you, okay, you said you kind of started doing voiceover on the side. How did you, like, accidentally do voiceover? Like, how did you, wow.
Well, people would tell me things like that I should get into it. Or it was more, they weren't like, oh, you have a great voice, but it was more like, you sound like a kid. You should do voiceover or something.
If you don't know Bridget, you need to go to her Instagram and watch all her voiceover stuff, because I've watched a bunch of them in the past, but I was watching some today just to, like, prepare for our interview, and she is so good. It's crazy. It's just crazy to me how, like, that wasn't even something you thought of initially or anything, but, like, you fell into it sort of and learned about it, but, like, you're so good at it. Like,
well, I've done it for a long time at this point. Yeah.
So yeah, but
I've taught it, and yeah,
it's crazy. Just, like, I can hear Bridget. It's not, most of the time, as from what I've seen, it's not your regular voice.
Yeah.
But I can hear Bridget's voice within it, and I've never been friends with someone whose career was voiceover, and so it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Bridget. I literally sent it to one of my friends who doesn't even live here. That was like, look at my friend Bridget and what she does. I was so excited about it. I was like, this is so cool. Because when I was pursuing acting in the past, I did take a voiceover. Do you know who Richard Horowitz is? I think that's his name. He was kind of, I don't know what he's doing now, but I think he was kind of, like, big in the voiceover world, like, back then. And he did, like, a class, and I had so much fun in the class, but I would not say that I was, like, a natural with voiceover, but I did think it was, like, really fun, and I did think I grew a little bit in it by the end, but I do think it's kind of hard in its own way, and, like, yeah, I'm super impressed with, like, how good of a job you do with it and how, like, natural you make it sound, and, like, you really, I feel like you're just, like, so the character, and it's different characters, and I'm like, how does Bridget do all these characters? It's crazy, like, it's very cool.
It's fun. I love it.
And you used to teach it, so,
yeah.
And then you recently, because you sort of, like, you didn't really have a total career change, because you're still doing voiceover, but you kind of decided to get away from, like, the teaching of it.
The teaching, yeah.
And that was just because there was, like, a lot of traveling involved, I think, is what you said.
Traveling and just, yeah. Just like I did it was fun. I learned a lot. I never really thought about teaching. It kind of landed in my lap, and it sounded fun, so I did it. And I learned a lot about myself and about people, and just, it's interesting because it's like I taught, like, the intro class, and then there was, like, a 6-hour master class and things that I taught, and how nervous people would get, or just, like, how they thought they had to be good right away and they couldn't make mistakes. And it's interesting because it's kind of the same with dance, but it's interesting being on, like, the teacher side versus the student side. And I felt like when I was doing both for a while, I would give my students all these encouraging words, and then I would come to dance and feel, like, so discouraged. And I'm like, I need to be, like, practicing what I preach here.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, wow, that's such a good, like, that's exactly how it is with dance, like, opposite for you or whatever.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And with your schedule with, like, just doing voiceover or whatever you're doing right now, like, outside of dance, does that fit pretty well around dance? Is that hard to, like, because you pretty much do go to a lot of classes consistently, so is that pretty easy to work around, like, your voiceover schedule and everything?
It's pretty easy. I feel like if I'm ever in studio, a lot of times it's in the Valley and stuff, and so getting back, but I do a lot from my home studio.
Okay. Yeah, do you have, like, a really nice setup for that to do at home?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so cool.
But they're about to start building something at the end of my street, and I'm really worried about it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's rough. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But,
okay, well, I feel like you're you're just doing so many things that you love, which I think is awesome. Because you take a lot of class, I wanted to ask you what makes you, like, when you try a new class or when you decide to put a class more regularly into your schedule, like, what is it about a class that makes you really want to keep going, makes you really like it? And also, on the flip side, I want to ask, like, you don't have to name specific classes, but, like, what is it about a class that kind of makes you not want to come back to it?
I think it's the overall vibe. I mean, I definitely have to enjoy, like, the choreo and what's like the level and different things, but I think just like the overall vibe, like the energy of the teacher, the energy of the class, and just if I enjoy the choreography. Yeah.
What about, like, specifically with the teacher? Like, does the teacher need to be a certain way? Or not that they need to be a certain way, but are there certain characteristics of teachers that you enjoy, like, going to regularly?
I would say just like the energy of the teacher, their energy as a human. Like, I feel
Okay.
like I'm a very intuitive, like I pick up people's energy well, and just, I don't know, the kind of person that they are, and just feeling like comfortable and safe in the class. But not even, they don't even have to like say anything or do anything.
Yeah.
It's just like the overall
Yeah.
vibe. And if somebody doesn't, I mean, some people just like aren't on the same vibration. So it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that like my vibration's good and theirs isn't. It's
Yeah.
just like, it just doesn't,
It
it's
doesn't
not a
click for
vibe.
you. Yeah.
But I
That
could like
makes
see a
sense.
teacher and be like, no.
I mean,
They don't have to like say anything or do anything, but I'm just like, or I could like see a teacher and be like, yeah, I definitely want to take the class from them.
wow. I mean, I kind of like that answer because I was looking for something more specific, but actually, now that you're saying it like that, like, yeah, I really think however you are as a person in your heart, it comes out. So it's not like we need teachers to all be the same way, like a certain type of way. It's just like if you as a person, like for me, how I would describe it, like if you as a person really care about people and really love teaching and wanting to help people grow, I think that's just going to come out in whatever your technique or method is of teaching. And you might have, everyone's might be different, but if every teacher has some sort of like desire to really like care for their students and help them and encourage them, some of them do that in a more like joyful way, some of them do it maybe in a little bit more of like a strict way. But I think if it's coming from a heart of like really caring and wanting to help you, for me, that would be my answer, I guess. Like that makes me want to keep going to the class. If I come to a class a bunch of times and feel like the teacher just doesn't care or like, or kind of just wants to get a good video and doesn't really care as much about the teaching aspect or something.
Yeah.
Like then I would just feel like uncomfortable because I'm like, well, I'm trying to I don't mind videos in class. I like videos, but I just like I am trying to grow and train, so I am going to sometimes go to classes that are a little too hard for me. That's like most of my classes right now. But it pushes you and you grow. So if you feel like you're not wanted there or like you're going to mess up the teacher's video. Like I love the teachers that do videos, but they also tell you not to stress about the video. Those are the teachers that I like. They're like, we want to get videos, we want to learn how to perform, but also like don't stress. Like I'm not here to get a great video, you know?
Yeah.
So I like that.
I'm so grateful at this time. I have so many teachers that I really like that I just feel grateful to have.
Yeah. What would you say I was going to ask you, what would you say is like something about dance that you feel really confident in, and then something that you really want to work on to get better at, which maybe you already mentioned a little bit, but more directly, is there something you feel like, oh, I get compliments on this a lot, or even if you don't get compliments, it's something that like, this is something I feel like I'm good at within dance? Since you're trying to practice telling yourself the good things.
I mean, I like hip hop. I feel like I get a lot of compliments these days on like hip hop.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's in comparison to all the other stories that I post of like me not doing as well. Like I love a good all levels hip hop class.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I'm trying really hard to working on like my arms being in the right place is something, I don't know, because I feel like I've concentrated so hard in the harder classes on like, where do my feet go? Like, which way am I turning? And then I'm like, now I'm like making sure my arms are in the right place, and then I'll eventually work on like my facial expressions.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I know. Sometimes I think I have it, and then I watch the video and I'm like, why was I doing this the whole time? Sometimes I literally make this face like the whole time.
That's what I do.
Or I'm like pursing. I had a teacher in the past tell me to stop pursing my lips because I used to always dance like this. And so I think now I purposely open my mouth to try not to purse my lips when I'm stressed or focused. But then I just look like this.
Yeah. I always,
Like,
sometimes
crazy.
I do like weird things with like open my mouth all the time. If I actually am getting the choreo, and then if it's like a hard class, I can see that I'm like, oh, I'm like clenching my jaw like the whole time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's funny how you don't, a lot of times I just don't even realize it. And I watch a video and I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of have the choreo, but oh my gosh, I look like someone is forcing me on gunpoint to like do this class, which is like not true. I actually get a lot of joy. It's just that it is hard to pick up the choreography, and I do feel like I have to focus. I've had a teacher in the past like tell me when I'm like learning the choreography, he's like, smile, Tracy. And I'm like, I am actually really happy to be there, but I get so focused and I'm just like in the zone and I can't like think about anything else. I'm like, I
can only
smile.
Yeah. I think I'm smiling. I'm like, okay. And then I don't. Unless I'm actually like genuinely smiling.
And I think the issue for me is when if the dance is a type of dance where you're not supposed to smile, where it's more of like a hardcore dance and you're trying to be like a baddie or something.
Yeah.
I think that's when I look really stressed, because I think even if I'm stressed, if I tell myself to smile, I could smile the whole dance and I'll look a little less stressed. But when I'm trying to be like fierce, I mostly just look stressed, probably because I just really am stressed.
Yeah.
And it's harder to mask it when you're not smiling. You
Yeah.
can do a fake smile, but a fake fierce face, it's like, I don't know how to like look fierce and not look stressed if I'm actually stressed.
Yeah. My facial expressions are the least of my worries.
Yeah. You're like, that's not even where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I was also, okay, and then I think we already kind of talked about what you want to work on, like mostly like picking up choreography and then like all these different things, start with the different levels, that you're working on things. But I was going to also ask you about like the friend community in dance. I know Esther used to try to convince you to come, and now she got really into rock climbing and you come more than her, a lot more than her. But how do you feel about just like the dance community, just like with building friendships? Do you feel like you have a lot of friends in dance, or do you still have a lot of friends outside of dance, or like what does that look like for you? Do you feel like you have a good community in dance?
I feel like I have a good, I love like the C spot. I mean, I go here all the time, so I know a lot of people, but I love, coming and dancing. I've been in LA and I've done a whole bunch of different things. So I have a lot of friends from different things that I've done. And I would say, I guess most of my friends are outside of dance, but I think I just see my dance friends at dance.
Yeah.
But I do hang out with, people from dance.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I was going to say, Bridget and I haven't totally hung out yet. But I feel like we do because we talk so much, and like sometimes after class, because I feel like Bridget and I sometimes have similar emotions after classes, maybe different classes, because I feel like some of the emotions you go through after Christian's or Zach's class, I have similar emotions, sometimes with their classes, but like sometimes with other classes, but I can like relate. And so we've been like leaving each other voice notes and like.
I love your voice notes. There was one you left me after like, Christians are, I don't know. But I was like, I don't know what I said, but then you were like, gave me this very encouraging voice that really did help, and it made me feel a lot better.
Good.
Because I was like kind of just done. I was like, I'm done with the hard classes. I'm just gonna take some easy classes for a while. And then, but yeah, it was really encouraging.
Well, that's good to hear. I love leaving voice notes in general, and I love encouraging people, but it's coming from a place of sincerity. I don't like to be like fake, and I do see a lot in you, and when I do see you get down sometimes, it like moves me, because I know that feeling, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want you to feel like that, but I think every dancer knows that feeling. It's just in different levels, in different ways, in different classes, but I think it's so cool how you just push yourself every week. And I always tell Bridget, like, if you keep going and you really feel like you're leaving depressed every single time, then like, take a break if you want to, but like, I don't know, she never took that advice, so she must like it enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I definitely see you're getting better. I think everyone does. I think you see it. You literally started dancing like not even that long ago, and you didn't even dance during the pandemic, and you're taking like an intermediate, at least intermediate class in contemporary, which is like the only way I got into contemporary was because I always wanted to try it when I took class at Edge before the pandemic. But they never had a beginner contemporary. Every time I saw it through the windows, I was like, oh my gosh, it looks so cool. I was kind of like you. I was like, I want to do that. But I was like, I don't even like barely take ballet. And I don't know. I really thought like, I'd love to try that in like 5 years. I thought maybe in 5 years I can do something like that. But when the pandemic hit and I started taking classes through Broadway Dance Center in New York, they had a class called Beginning Contemporary. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Beginning Contemporary? And I was like, and it's virtual. So like, I mean, I could turn off my camera, which I never did, but it was like, oh, it felt like, oh, no one's even going to really see me. So for me, I feel like that was God's way of like blessing me to like try contemporary earlier than I would have. So that I did that for like a year or a year and a half before I ever tried like the intermediate level contemporary that we have here. And when I first went to Zach's, I was a disaster. I'm not even sure how I kept coming to his class because he saw it.
I'm not sure how I kept coming.
He would tell you because I did not have the choreo. I would ask questions and be like, how did everyone just understand that move he did? I don't even know what that is. And like, so I definitely went through that for a bit. And then somehow I just kept going because I just was like, I felt welcomed. Like it didn't feel like, oh, I shouldn't, I'm not allowed there or something, you know? So that's also, that makes a difference. If you try a hard class, but like, you don't feel like the teacher like wishes you weren't there or something.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I wouldn't. Yeah. If I don't align with the teacher.
So.
But I tapped during the pandemic in 2021.
Oh, yeah.
When we were all still like shut down. I was like, I need to do something. So I took private tap lessons for like a year and a half.
That's awesome.
And I tapped like, I got like a wood board from Home Depot. Like I'd go to the park and tap. I went to Joshua Tree a lot. I would bring my tap board to Joshua Tree. Like I loved tap.
But I forget if you take tap right now or not.
I don't.
Okay. It's hard sometimes to find a good tap class that fits in your schedule here because like I love tap, but I haven't taken it in a while, partly for that reason. And also I just like so many dance styles and tap is one of them, but it's been hard for me to find one that fits in my schedule. But I love that you did that. I like want you to do it again.
I know. I was like looking for class, but my feet hurt all the time. And I think it was because I was taking privates and we were learning tricks like pullbacks and wings. I worked on wings so much.
It's so hard.
And
I can't do it.
I finally got them, but it was like I remember it was like my last lesson and I killed it. And then I never did
Do you have a video of that?
I didn't take my last lesson because it was just me and my tap teacher weren't getting along towards the end. But for a while it was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have them from the last lesson, but I'm sure I videotaped myself like trying to get them. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But I remember my feet hurt for like all the time.
Oh. Well, I talked about that in another episode where like tap in general, even if I'm not working on tricks, tap just tends to hurt my feet because you're always on the ball of your foot. And that just, for me, being on the ball of your foot so much, like just hurts my feet more than like in ballet. But I noticed when I was taking tap more often, my feet like got used to it. But for a while, there's like a lot of pain for me.
Mine didn't. Mine hurt every day for a year.
You're also doing like harder stuff in like privates, which is like concentrated.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I hope that you can find a way to get back into that at some point. Or teach it. I'm like, you should teach it. A beginner class or something.
I think I have a little PTSD from it, honestly. Okay. I feel like at the end, my teacher made me just feel like I was horrible. And like, yeah.
Yeah.
I just haven't. But I don't really have, like, I haven't found, like, if there was a place that was close, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll pray for that for you.
I would. Try and fit it in my schedule.
I love how it's just becoming night. I kind of forgot that was going to happen, but we still seem to be like in decent lighting.
Yeah.
So Bridget and I have to take our class in a few minutes. So we're going to take Christian's contemporary class. And then afterwards, we're going to do like just a little blip to tell you, even though we already talked about Christian's class, we're going to like talk to you about specifically what it was like to dance to Matchbox 20
Yeah.
And how he felt.
See how discouraged I get, or if I'm actually pick it up a little.
Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't be discouraged. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, see you in a few minutes. Bye. Okay, hello again. We're back. Me and Bridget, we just took Christian's contemporary class. It's definitely nighttime now. It's like 9:30 or something. I'm pretty hungry. I'm excited to eat my That's the other thing. The other good thing about C-Spot is they usually have a taco stand right outside in the front, and you have to order them beforehand because they like to close up before the last class ends, which I don't know why they do that. But
great advice. Yeah.
But yeah, love getting tacos. Anyways, those are waiting for me after this. But Bridget, what did we think? We know what we think about Christian's class in general, but what did we think about tonight? Dancing to Matchbox 20. How did it go for you?
I love dancing to songs that I know, and I love that song. I really had fun. I tried really hard because I was like, you have to try hard because if you don't do well, you're going to be in a bad mood for Tracy's end of podcast. So you can't be, but I did try really hard. I felt like I did pretty good, so I'm in an okay mood about it.
Good. I thought you did pretty good. I watched you one of the times. Most of the time when I was watching the other group, I was watching Christian because I was trying to get like the exact timing of stuff, and he's like the only one that had it. Exactly. Well, that I know of. I just know he has it, so I was watching him. But one time I kind of watched you because I knew we were going to talk about it. And I was
I was videoing for you, so I wasn't watching you, but...
yeah, that's totally fine. But yeah, I was like, Bridget's doing pretty good. And it seemed like you were enjoying it. Like, yeah, I felt that from you a little bit, so that's good.
Maybe it was the pre-Tracy combo vibes before
Maybe
class.
We need to do that every week. Bridget and Tracy's podcast, pre-Christian class every week. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was good. It was still tricky. I didn't feel like it was still hard, and I always struggle in Christian's class. I always have to super focus, but I felt like it wasn't like his most extreme tricky combo. It was more like medium challenging. I don't know. It was still really challenging. But,
yeah, that's pretty hard, but I thought he did well.
Yeah, I thought he went over stuff more than normal a little bit, which was nice. And yeah, I always loved
like
his
super
tips.
packed.
Yeah, it wasn't super packed. We weren't like banging into people, and he always has like really good pointers. And like, that's what I need is like those specific things, like hold this arm up longer, or like I like when teachers give very specific direction about very specific parts versus just being like have more texture, because I struggle with like texture, and then I'm like, okay, where do I do that? How do I do that? So I like when teachers are like, at this part, do it sharper. This part, do this, hold it longer, you know?
I know. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's great. Oh, good. And then sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's the last thing I'm worried about. They'll be like, make sure your arm's on this one. I'm like, yeah, we'll see when we get there.
Well, I think that's the part about like understanding where you're at in a class. Some teachers will actually like remind you of that. Like, hey, if you only can do the feet this time, then just focus on the feet. But I think you don't need a teacher to always say that. I think we just know. Like, I know for myself that specific tip he gave is like beyond what I need right now. I just need to get these steps. You know, I can't think about my head tilting a little less this way, or you know, I can't think of something that minute when I'm like just trying to get the moves.
Or keep up.
Yeah. But I thought that was really fun. I love dancing to old songs I haven't heard in forever, and he keeps bringing them back like that, which is so fun.
And it's easier to like get the beat.
Yeah, because
you know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good challenge to be in a class when you don't know the song, because we need to be able to do that. But like, I love it when we already know it, and you're just like enjoying it, and like you want to sing it, and you want it to like keep going. I'm like, let's learn more and stay for 2 more hours.
I know. It was really fun tonight.
It was fun. I kind of liked that last part on the floor. It was like dramatic.
Yeah.
It was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. So Bridget, officially we're ending the podcast. Thank you for being on it. Appreciate your time. Appreciate hearing your story. And hope you guys all loved it as well.
And just to like wrap up, I do want to say like, I hope I wasn't, earlier when we talked, I can't remember what I said, but I hope I wasn't super just being like, oh, I'm so discouraged. Like, I love Christian's class, and I like Zach's class. It's so fun. And I think like the C-Spot, because you had asked me something about like trying new classes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm comfortable trying new classes, but I just really think that's like the C-Spot being so welcoming, and the teachers and like the other people in class and that kind of thing. Yes. And you really inspired me too, because I remember I had taken a few hard classes, and then I was like, nah. And then I went and took like hip hop, and then I started coming back to Zach's, and I was like, wow, Tracy's gotten really good. And
Aw.
it really did like inspire me. Like, maybe I can get better too.
Aw, and you did. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely like Christian's class, Zach's class, C Spot in general, just the welcoming feeling, but then they still push you, and it's still like a good challenge so you can grow. It's like a really good combination. Yeah, if you haven't, this studio is like a little bit newer, so if you haven't heard of it or tried it yet, like try it out. A great place to try new classes, like Bridget was saying. So
I'll probably be there.
Bridget will probably be there. She can welcome you. So she's very welcoming and friendly. I forgot to say that. I wanted to say that about you because you're so friendly and you're so like kind to everyone. That's why it was like so easy for me to like chat with you so quickly.
Yeah.
So love that. You're part of what makes it welcoming, because I think the people that come who are like welcoming to others that come, it's like not just Susan, it's like the people, and you're someone who's here all the time, so you help make it that, you know.
I try to. I think I'm nicer in classes that I'm better at.
You know,
sometimes like Christians, or I'm just like focusing. So yeah, getting myself pumped up.
Me too. I'm like, maybe after the really hard class is over, but then if I'm in a bad mood because I did bad, I am probably less friendly. But I'm trying to not be like that, but it does affect you. You're like,
if I did that, I am like out of there so fast. Like so, like as soon as I can get my shoes on, I'm like,
yeah. Sometimes I've barely walked towards my bag, and I'm like, what the heck happened to Bridget? She left so. That's why I always. That's why
I was already halfway to my car, like shoes on and everything. Yeah.
But me and Bridget are always posting on Instagram our dances, so we're always both up like so late. It takes me a long time to get home to Pasadena, and then like we're both up late posting, and we usually end up like texting on like a dance night. And I'm like, why am I talking to Bridget at 1 a.m? Why am I not?
Because of your 8-minute voice notes.
I have to leave 8 minutes.
Because I gotta listen,
and you gotta listen, and then you gotta respond,
and then you gotta listen.
Then another 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Well, thank you, Bridget, again for coming on the podcast, and I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see you guys next time I see you. Bye.
Bye.